I've had the opportunity over the last 10 or 11 months to be associated with this program at a number of different levels. And I got the privilege of following that video today, but I have to tell you, every time I think about the program, or every time I talk about the program, I get this wave of emotion, so I'm going to try to deal with that right now and kind of go on. One thing I'd like to express is that the team that was put together from Rockwell Automation and Manpower Group, a very small team, but an incredibly dedicated team, led by Blake and Jonas, worked so hard in such a short period of time to bring a program together and, in fact, graduate a pilot class of 14 people last week, that it's almost beyond my comprehension that a concept in February has evolved to the point that here we are in November and we're talking about graduates from the program and the escalation of the program going forward. Before I introduce the four folks that are here from the program with us today, I'd just like to take a moment. This past weekend was Veterans Day in the United States. For those of you in the audience, anybody in the audience, as well as the four folks that are here, if you served your country anywhere around the world, please stand and accept our appreciation for your service and your family's sacrifice on behalf of all of us. Now I'd like to welcome to the stage the plank holders from the Academy of Advanced Manufacturing, four gentlemen who are here to represent their classmates, the 14 folks on our pilot program, and talk about their experience with us today. First, a veteran of the United States Air Force. He served for 10 years as an offensive avionics systems technician. Please welcome Scott Bingham. Our next veteran served 14 years in the United States Navy. He was a chief electronics technician. You saw a little bit of him on the video. Travis Tolbert. Next gentleman joining us served 6 years in the United States Air Force as an HVAC and electronics journeyman. Leandre, he likes to be called, it's what we call him, Trey Davis.
Thanks, man.
And last but certainly not least, a veteran in the United States Army, 8.5 years service. He was a senior team lead on a Patriot missile defense battery. Please welcome Chris Allison. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
That was a little weird, by the way. When these folks came on program, my dad was always sir, and they call us sir all the time. It's incredibly polite gentlemen. Okay, let's talk a little bit about your military experience. Individually, can you talk to us a little bit about what you did during your time in the military? And Chris, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so as you saw in the video, 14 Tango, which is Patriot missile air defense. My job was basically stationing missile launchers and getting them ready to fire, but also had a secondary task of in-depth troubleshooting, electrical troubleshooting of those machines.
Trey?
I'm Leandre Davis. I did 6 years in the United States Air Force. I was an HVAC technician, which is heat and ventilation and air conditioning. I installed, maintained, and troubleshot systems around base.
I'm Travis Tolbert, U.S. Navy, 14 years. I was a chief electronics technician. I worked on radar equipment, navigation equipment, test and troubleshooting repair, also on information systems.
Scott?
I'm Scott Bingham. I was 10 years active duty United States Air Force. I'm a SAC warrior. I worked aircraft avionics maintenance on B-52G and H aircraft, which are older than I am, but great aircraft. Very proud to have done that. I'm a Desert Storm veteran. And my daily duties were similar to what Travis did. I worked avionics, navigation systems, weapons delivery systems, and radar systems. And the basics were troubleshooting in-flight malfunctions, troubleshooting ground, preparing the aircraft for new missions, supporting the mission staff. It was a very challenging job and one that I'm very proud of.
Okay, great. It's a question for Chris and Travis. Can you talk a little bit about, in your time after you exited the military, and I know Travis, it's been a little while for you, Chris, it's been a little more recent, the difficulties you encountered and your experience kind of looking for out of the military employment?
Yeah, so I'll go first. I just left the military December of last year, and I got a job fairly quick in January of this year. The job was at a call center, not something that I wanted to do, but I needed a job. I actually wanted something more hands-on, more critical thinking, you know, things that require me to think. Like, I'd like to do Sudoku and crossword puzzles, things like that in my free time, and the call center was not for me. So that was the difficult part, was finding something that I wanted to do, and this program offered that to me.
Okay, Travis?
I got out in 2012, and I did 4 deployments. I had just came back from a 7-month deployment. So I wasn't too interested in going right back to work for anyone else. I wanted to do my own thing and be a personal trainer and kind of, you know, set my own hours. And when I was transitioning, I was in high demand. Like, everybody was ringing my phone and trying to, you know, offer me different jobs and stuff. So I wasn't interested at the time. But then as a couple years went by, running my business, and, you know, I was trying to get back. I wasn't really passionate about it. I was trying to get back into the workforce, and I wasn't as popular. So I experienced the phone went silent, and wasn't getting phone calls, you know, again, and wasn't getting called back. So those are some of the difficulties I ran into.
Scott, go back 12 weeks in time and then kind of think about the 12 weeks coming forward. Can you talk to us a little bit about what a typical day in the Academy of Advanced Manufacturing might have been like or was like while you were on program?
Basically, the typical day is a combination of hands-on lab work, which is supported by presentations, very intensive, very fast-moving presentations of material, of theory, and also instructional material supported by the day-to-day, that would actually support the day-to-day operations once we would get into a new job opportunity. Everything was geared towards, this is what you're going to see in the field, these types of things can happen, and it was talked about. The instructors were extremely knowledgeable. It was talked about, and it was also backed up with hands-on lab, as you were able to see in that wonderful video.
Can you talk, Scott, a little bit about what types of tools the instructional team used to kind of track your performance and kind of give you feedback on how you were doing on program?
They used a variety of different tools, their own personal evaluation of us. It was a comprehensive approach. They used their own personal evaluation. They used written tests, quizzes, some online evaluation material, as well as practical labs where they would give us a scenario that mirrored a real-world scenario in a production facility with the lab equipment that we had at our disposal, which was basically controllers, HMIs, drives, motion equipment, and then give us a scenario where you need to make this work. The customer has done X to change the system, so now you need to integrate these changes into the system. Again, it was all designed around giving us real-world experience as closely as they possibly could in a lab and an instructional environment. Personally, I can say it was very effective.
Okay, thanks. Trey, excuse me, in the Air Force,
Yes, sir.
you were an HVAC technician.
Yes, sir.
See what I mean? You were an HVAC technician, which gave you a bunch of incredibly strong baseline technical skills coming into the program. How prepared do you think you were coming into the program, and how did the program build on those skills?
Yeah, besides the basic electronical and mechanical skills, I didn't have any idea what to expect. So whenever I got taught the stuff that I got taught, it kind of clicked, as in I got the understand of what I was supposed to be doing and things of that nature. So I feel like I picked up pretty fast, and I mean I like to learn and things of that sort. So I feel like it played a big role in the things I learned.
Okay. Question for all of you, and we can start with you, Chris. What did you find most interesting during the 12 weeks? And it could be literally anything.
I would say most interesting would be that throughout the whole course, it involved troubleshooting. As Scott said earlier, they would give us the scenarios, hey, this is broken, fix it. And as I stated earlier, I like challenges, I like Sudoku, I like anything that use critical thinking. So throughout the program, it involved using basic troubleshooting skills, and that excited me. That was my favorite part.
Okay, Trey?
Yeah, for me, it was more the visualization, like the HMIs and everything, because before I ever seen panel views or anything, I thought that the programs was more templated and you just assign instructions and everything. And I'm more creative and I like to create stuff. So I come to find out that you actually invent or create the HMIs square by square, box by box, and you get to design each instruction and make things work through the creation of your own program. So that really enticed me.
There's no question, by the way, that Trey is creative. He's the fashion plate from the program. We've actually cramped your style a little bit with the wardrobe for today, I think. Travis?
For me, it was the relevancy of the training materials. Day one, we're all sitting there not really knowing what to expect, and you got Rockwell, you got Manpower Group, everybody's there, and they asked us if we have any questions, and I said, because I had been looking at a lot of the job boards prior to that, and the responsibilities and the type of equipment they wanted us trained on, and I started throwing terms out there like RS links, L7s, L8s for the programmable logical controllers, and Panel View Plus, and they were like, you're going to be trained on all of that stuff. And so the most interesting thing for me was once we got into the lab and I got to actually, programming and, connecting things, configuring and playing around with the equipment, it was like the latest and greatest. I had known about Rockwell's products prior to that, and I know that the L7s and L8 programmable logic controllers were like, that's what the latest and greatest that they're using out in the field. So that was the most interesting thing for me.
Okay, Scott?
Well, I'm a bit of a car buff, so for me, anything having to do with motors, anything along those lines. So for me, it was drives and motion controls. I really sunk my teeth into that. That was a lot of fun, and a great instructor that really was very enthusiastic about making sure that we understood how these things worked, and that was a lot of fun and really challenging for me.
And this is open to anybody that wants to just jump in here. Can you talk about the instructional staff, your relationship with the instructional staff, what the interactions were like?
I'll take that one. I was an instructor in the Navy, and so there was times throughout the instruction, since this is a pilot, where, they didn't really know who they were going to get. With the engineering and training program, they know they're going to get engineers, people with engineering background, but we had people from different backgrounds, and I thought it was pretty cool how the instructors were able to adapt their teaching style to help everybody understand the material, because I could see where they would take a pause and kind of, okay, I'm going to have to explain it this way, and they really took their time, and they didn't really worry about getting behind at times because we stayed on schedule, but they were able to really put that time in and spend time with us and help us out.
I can add to that a bit. Several of the instructors that we had are veterans themselves, and they really embraced us as veterans, and several of them weren't, but to a person, the instructors all had the focus on, we want you to succeed, and we will do anything we can to help you succeed. There was never a sense that they were coming down on us or with differences in experience, and we have as you can have heard, we have very varied backgrounds. And they had to teach to a certain level. They had to get to a certain level of learnability, as we heard discussed earlier. And they were fantastic. I can't thank them enough.
Okay. The incredible thing about this program, and as I mentioned earlier, I've been associated with it for a number of months, is I'm still waiting for the first person when we ask for something that says, well, let me get back to you on that, or no, I can't do that. Literally, everybody that's asked to make a contribution jumps up, whether it's folks that are on program, the instructional staff, the marketing team that put together the video. And while I'm bringing up the marketing team, can we just take a minute and acknowledge the incredible event that Ninva and Newman and Christine Spella put together here, and the folks that are working all the audio-visual stuff. Can we acknowledge their contribution today? So literally, I mean, the video crew, everybody wants to help. Can anybody got a personal example of something that was going on during program that would kind of reflect that?
Anybody?
That was one we didn't rehearse, so.
Oh, I'll take this one. The instructional staff, like I said, they were there after hours. Like sometimes I was there till 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, and you know they would stick around and you know, help me out. And also we'd swap some sea stories because one instructor was a Navy veteran like myself, so that was pretty cool. And then I needed some help with the living arrangements towards the end, and they were like, well, we're going to get you an answer by, you know, the end of the day. And they stayed on top of it. Like the follow-up throughout the process was always good because, you know, sometimes people just didn't know how things were going to go because this was the pilot. So, I mean, they were really, really good about follow-up.
A couple of you actually lived in the Staybridge, which is the hotel we use for the program, which is just a couple doors down from our Mayfield Heights facility, and you know, kind of ate in the cafeteria and kind of did that. What was that experience like for you, kind of living remotely in a hotel for 12 weeks?
Well, I'll say from Detroit, and it's a 3.5-hour drive from Staybridge and the facility to home. So I would go home every other weekend, but while I was there, it was really good living. The food, it was edible. You know, it was good space. Honestly, there were no complaints. It was just a really great opportunity, and the fact that the staff there really understood what we were going through. They understood Rockwell's stance with them, and so they catered to us. They took their time. They took their time with us. They looked out for us, and it was greatly appreciated.
Great.
Yeah, I'll touch on that too. Coming from the Air Force, they usually take very good care of us when it comes to the living situations and everything. And I'm a type of person that like to cook for myself, so they gave us little kitchens, and I was fortunate enough to get my own room. So I really appreciated that and everything. So I enjoyed myself.
All right, seeing as you brought up the Air Force, we're gonna take a little break from the program conversation and have kind of a fun question. We have 3 branches of the military represented here. We have the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. There's a perception in the American public that there's a service branch rivalry. Does anybody want to comment on that and how it exhibited itself on program?
Yeah, I'll take that. So I'm the Army guy, and we got the 2 Chair Force guys here.
Did you hear we said Chair Force?
So the Air Force is more of a corporation. It's more of a business than a military branch. Like Trey said, he came from the Air Force, and they have really high quality of living there. We don't, so they have a really good life in the Air Force.
You got anything you want to say about the Navy?
No, the Navy's okay with me.
Scott or Trey, you want to respond? You got?
Well, like I said, the Air Force took very good care of us, and there's no complaints over this way.
I'll just say that if you choose to serve, there is no bad choice. Then I honestly believe that. I'm proud of all of us in this program, and we did have some usual banter back and forth. Oh yeah, they got their zingers in, especially the Marines. There are no Marines here, but man, us Air Force vets caught, can I say that? No, I probably shouldn't. Well,
Okay.
you know what, from the Marines, but
right.
there are brothers, and that's the way the class went. That's how we acted towards each other. We
Travis,
backed each
you
other
got
up.
anything to add to this, or should we move on?
Yeah, we gave each other a fair share hard time, so
Okay.
it was cool.
All right, good. You all sacrificed something to be part of the pilot program and become plank holders for the Academy of Advanced Manufacturing. Can you talk, and we'll start with you again, Chris, with what you sacrificed to be on program?
Yes, I have a 7-year-old daughter, and I left being with her most of the day to come to this because I knew that this would provide a better future for both of us. So the sacrifice was hard to just leave her. She understood that I had to go to work, so that's what it was. But it was a great move because this is a better move for me and my daughter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
and for me, I was working a little dead-end job, so this opportunity gave me a chance to be more attractive to future employers, so I jumped at the opportunity.
Travis?
For me, I didn't really think I sacrificed too much. It was, I had a few clients I was training after class because trying to make ends meet. My biggest concern was trying to make sure I was paying the bills and everything. I got a house, stayed local, 15 minutes south of the training facility. So I stayed at home and just trying to do that. But I took a leap of faith towards the middle of the program and just stopped training and went full steam with the program.
Okay. Scott?
With the help of a veteran brother, I left Rochester, New York in May of this year, moving to Cleveland to find a new future and to find a new career, really not knowing anything about this program. So in a sense, I gave up everything and took a chance that would happen, and it did, and here I sit.
Okay, that's a great segue into the next question, because let's talk about the opportunities you have coming off program. And the panel's going to split kind of left to right where you're at from a job perspective. And we'll start with Travis and Scott relative to where you are for your off-program jobs. Travis?
Well, I just accepted an offer with a paper manufacturer down south to be a process optimization specialist. And it's a new position, and it's part of their Factory of the Future initiative, which is all automation for all the different paper mills, and I'll do about 50% travel. And all of the things that we covered in the course, I'll be doing on a day-to-day basis. I'm really excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Scott?
I've also accepted an offer from a company in the energy equipment supply sector, so an OEM, to join their project engineering team in design, build, test, and deploy scenarios for new solutions to upgrade their existing plant infrastructure. It is also a created position, and it's tailor-made for a person coming out of a program such as this, because it will utilize everything I've learned to be able to hit the ground running to support this company in this new position.
Okay. Now, Trey and Chris, you're in a slightly different position. So, Trey, why don't you talk about where you're at?
Yeah, I'm in my second round of interviews with a paper mill in Purdue Hill, Alabama, and I go there Friday to do the interview. So I'm pretty sure everything will go pretty good.
And close the deal, right?
Yeah, and close the deal and get an offer from them.
Okay. Chris?
I'm also doing the final interview with a paper mill company in Quanah, Texas. The position is a electrical controls engineer.
Whoa. Say that again.
Electrical controls engineer.
Okay.
So that's the position I'm doing the final interview for, and I have full confidence that it'll go well and I'll get an offer from them.
Great. Congratulations to all of you to kind of getting to this point. Let's go the other way this time. We'll start with you, Scott. Did the program meet your expectations, and how? Or not, and how?
Of course, I would never say that. I had a very open mind coming into the program because, first of all, I didn't have a background in automation. I didn't know that much about it, but I was interested in it. So my expectation was, if anything, that I would learn what I didn't know as far as the technology, but I would also have an awesome experience with a number of veteran brothers. And both of those aspects exceeded my expectations.
Okay, Travis?
For me, the program has exceeded my expectations. When I came in, I was expecting get the skills, get the job, you know. But going through the program and also getting those soft skills and, you know, the resources I was connected with, the people I got a chance to meet, helped me to kind of dig into knowing myself a little bit better and seeing some things in myself that other people saw in me and being a better person as a result. So.
Okay, Trey?
And for me, I really didn't have any expectations coming in, but I definitely needed the skills and the opportunity to make myself more attractive, like I said previously, to future employers and have those credentials for my resume. So, and I also appreciate how much care and appreciation y'all gave to us and treated us as veterans and everything. So that exceeded my expectations because I never been around any company or anything that took care of us like that or showed us appreciation. So yeah.
Chris?
As far as expectations, I would say I didn't have any. I just planned on coming in, as Scott said, coming in to learn. I came in with a clean slate, and I just expected to just be a better person, just know more. So in that case, exceeded because I came in like, okay, I'm about to learn a job, ended up learning information and skills for a career. So exceeds.
Okay, great. Kind of another fun question, maybe, might not be so fun. Let's see what the answers are. We'll start with you, Travis. Favorite moment during the 12 weeks?
Trying to think. My favorite moment was when I was in the Navy. I was a chief petty officer, and anybody that's been in the Navy know the role of the chief. But I've been out for a while, and I'm getting ready to walk into an interview with U.S. Steel. And this was completely random. You know, I'm a little nervous, but confident. And as I'm walking into the interview, a fellow shipmate, other Navy veteran, one of the classmates, before I walked in, he gave me a handshake and looked me in my eye and he said, "Good luck, Chief." That was my favorite moment.
Okay. Trey?
I'd say getting invited to Houston to come to this convention, that probably was a proud moment for me. And to say, and to say on the first day, like I said, they were very welcoming. They had nice care packages for us and everything, and a lot of equipment and tools already ready and prepped, had our names everywhere. So I just felt appreciative. So that was my favorite moment.
Okay. Chris?
My favorite moment was day one, meeting with all the veterans. I just got out in December last year again, and it was just a gap between being in the civilian world and being surrounded by that and coming here and meeting up with all the veterans again. It was an instant brotherhood. It was like we never missed a beat. Never met these guys a day in my life, but it all just seemed like we knew each other from day one, and that worked for me.
Okay. Scott?
My moment is basically the day that we graduated. I got a call. I actually didn't take the call. I missed it, but I got a call from the same brother that helped me move to Cleveland to start my life again. And it was very short. He's a Navy guy, and they tend to be short and to the point. And he just said, "Brother, I'm proud of you." And that meant so much to me coming from him.
Okay, great.
That was awesome.
There weren't only technical things that were covered on program. We did some soft skill things. One of the soft skill things we did, thanks to our human resources team and Kristen Fritz, who played an incredibly valuable role, with the program, we did a series of practice interviews. Anybody want to talk about how that went and how you felt about that process?
Trey, you want to take that?
I'll start. I know I wasn't very good at interviewing because, like I said, I mean, the jobs I had before, I never did any behavioral type-based interviews, and in the Air Force, it was just straight after that. So the mock interviews and all the prep work that they put in, it really, really helped me out with having an understanding of how to interview, how to go about to answer the questions, and I feel way more confident now going into an interview. I think I'll be more successful based on that.
Okay. Anybody got anything to share to that?
I got some. When we went through the mock interviews, I had a lot of that already, and I thought some of it was like a little overkill, like we were over-prepared. And then we got into the actual interviews, and they were more conversational. So I guess it was good to be more prepared than like under-prepared. And it wasn't until last Friday I get down to Atlanta, Georgia for a round of interviews with 8 people. It was the entire day. And they literally threw every single interview question, anything you could YouTube, Google about interviews, they threw everything at me. And when we first started, I saw it coming, so I went and grabbed about 2 cups of coffee. And I was ready to go, and I blew it out of the water.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, let's move on. We're getting close to wrapping up here. So I want to talk about the future. As Blake and Chris mentioned, the future of this program literally is to ramp up and train more than 1,000 veterans a year to do the kinds of things that you folks have learned to do. If you could speak to your sisters and brothers from the military, what would you say to them about the program and the value it could bring to their lives? And we'll start with you, Travis.
Take advantage of the opportunity. A lot of us, when we got the call, some people got the call, some people pursued it via the job boards. My biggest thing was the credibility. A lot of us, our biggest thing was the credibility. And when I saw Rockwell and Manpower Group on the job boards and on the flyers, that brought a lot of value to the program for me. And my advice to them is to take advantage of it, because I can say that we, it's 14 of us, and outside of the EIT program, because most of those are Rockwell employees, but it's 14 of us in the world that were trained specifically on Rockwell equipment by Rockwell instructors, Rockwell employees, and we're the first. So.
Okay. Scott?
Rockwell and Manpower have a very special partnership, and the one thing that I have gotten to know in the last 3 months is that it's a big family, and I would challenge any of my veteran brothers and sisters to challenge themselves to change their lives, because that's exactly what happened to me. And if I can do it, they can do it.
Chris?
I would say that this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Like, it's top-notch training with great instructors, and to not take that opportunity to come into this program would be foolish. It's the best decision I've made other than serving my country.
Trey?
Yeah. And for me, I would tell them, like, you really have nothing to lose. You have an opportunity to learn something, and that you can never stop learning. So I would definitely take advantage of that situation, just off the knowledge in itself.
Gentlemen, it's been my privilege and honor to have spent the last 12 weeks with you. You've been spectacular on program. You've been spectacular here today. Both Rockwell Automation and Manpower Group owe you a debt of gratitude, not just for being here today, but for your participation in the program and for your service to our country. So thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.